If you're going to do some self-filming, the chances are it's going to be one of two scenarios. Either you want to talk to your audience directly, or there's someone whose stories and experience could be really useful to your audience, so you want to do an interview. If it's the first way, just a single shot of you, then setup couldn't be any simpler really. You just need a phone or an iPad, something like that. Make sure it's not too low. Make sure it's around about eye level because that's going to be by far the best shot of you. And make sure when you look at it, you're not looking at the selfie image on the phone, but you find out where that tiny little lens is and you look straight down the lens. And that's the best way to engage your audience and get your passion really coming across. Otherwise, if you look at the selfie image, it can be a little bit disconcerting for the audience because you're not making eye contact with them. In this case, you can also be quite near to the camera, so you might not need an external microphone. And again, that makes it much easier to set up and kind of easier to put together altogether. If you're going to interview someone else because they've got some great content to share with your audience, then they're not going to be talking to the camera. What you need to do, the simplest way to do it, is for you to sit to the side of the camera and for your guest, the one who's got all the knowledge and experience you want them to share, to talk to you to the side of the camera. So they're not going to address your audience directly, but they're going to share with you off camera as an interview. The thing is with this interview, because they're sharing with you, you're going to get edited out because you can't be seen. So when they answer your questions, make sure that they're answering the whole question. And so the questions can come out, leaving behind a complete story to share with your audience. Now, you can also interview someone on camera. But if there's going to be two of you in vision, it does complicate things. For starters, you're going to need two cameras. Two phones is absolutely fine, but you're going to need a shot of each of you. So you've got one camera favouring the face of one person and another camera favouring the face of your interviewee. So you get a kind of a crossed view favouring each of you. Now, a nice way to establish the scene at the beginning of an interview is to film a short piece from the front. So you just establish both of you sitting together, where you are and how you're kind of turned to each other. That won't afford any close-ups of you, but it will establish you to start with. And then you can go in for the nice closer shots that favour each of you. One of you as you're asking the questions and the other one as they're sharing the answers with your audience. It's also really useful to get some cutaways as well. So some shots from different angles. It might be close-up shots of hands moving, or it might be a shot of what you're looking at if you're observing something. Those extra shots will come in really handy when you're editing, especially if the interview's a little bit longer than you wanted it to be and you need to take some out. And what you also need to remember to do is you're going to have microphones because you're both going to inevitably sit a lot further away from the cameras than you would do if there was just one camera. So you need to get some plug-in microphones. One goes to one camera and one goes to the other camera. And then you're going to have to sync those up. And the easiest way to do that is a good old-fashioned clap before you start filming with both cameras on you. And then that will cause a big spike in the sound and you'll very easily line those up when you're in the edit. The last way of filming is a way that we are asked for quite a lot and it just doesn't work. And that's a double act, two people both talking to camera. And it always just sounds like school assembly. So if there's anything you can do to avoid that, then please do. So the things to go for are you talking to your audience in a single camera, or you talking to someone else and doing an interview to share their knowledge, both of which are fantastic ways of getting passion and enthusiasm across to your audience.